Hey everybody, it's the Bible Study Dude back for our post-show discussion for episode 8 to wrap up season 1 of The Chosen. Let's get into it. When the Pharisees interrupted the dinner party, it reminded me a bit of the parable of the great banquet. God wants everyone to sit at his table, and all are welcome to join. However, Yusuf and the other Pharisees are like those in the parable that were first invited, but started to give all kinds of excuses and reject the invitation to join the party. And then, just like in the parable, Jesus then opens up that invitation to those considered outcasts by society: the lame, the poor, the crippled, the meek. And then, of course, going out, eventually, he'll get out to the highways and the hedges and start getting the Gentiles involved as well. Let's talk about our guy, Nicodemus. He is obviously torn. He's not really sure what to do. He wants to follow Jesus, but at the same time, he does not want to give up his life of comfort. He's intrigued and amazed by Jesus, but he also loves and respects his wife. She wants to return to their normal life, to be around friends and their family again. His colleagues celebrate his earthly achievements while Jesus is inviting him to follow and see a heavenly kingdom instead. If you were in Nicodemus's position, what do you think you might do? If you were advanced in years, if you had a high-ranking position at your job, if you were married, if you had kids, grandkids, all of that, would you give it up to follow Jesus? Ultimately, Nicodemus chooses the life of comfort and familiarity over following Jesus. The pain and guilt of this decision, though, is very obvious, as you saw how Nicodemus was breaking down as the group started to leave. The contrasting stories between Nicodemus and Matthew illustrate the difficulty and life-altering decisions that are required to follow Jesus. Nicodemus chose worldly comfort, while Matthew gives up everything, his life of comfort, his money, his protection from Rome, to follow Jesus. Now, Matthew's choice does cause some friction between Jesus and Quintus. Matthew was, if not the best, tax collector that Quintus had. So Jesus stealing Matthew away was quite a strike against him. Another strike against Jesus was the streets became crowded, delaying the envoy and getting Quintus into trouble. Strike 2. So Quintus does what he knows best. He issues a decree banning religious gatherings outside of the synagogue, and he wants to question Jesus. Rabbi Shmuel is appalled by Nicodemus's lack of urgency when it comes to false prophecy. He cannot believe that Nicodemus just stood there and did nothing while Jesus made his claims to be the Son of God, to be like God. You see, Shmuel is caught up in the traditions of the Torah, the oral traditions. He also doesn't believe that God can take on human form. So just pay attention to Shmuel as we move through these seasons and watch his journey as we continue on. And then the main focus of this episode comes from John chapter 4. Jesus knew from the start exactly where he wanted to go and who he wanted to meet. The disciples aren't sure why Jesus would want to travel through a dangerous territory for Jewish people like Samaria. The Jews and Samaritans did not like each other at all, and I covered some of that in my nerd notes. Jesus insists, though, that he knows what he is doing. Of course, he's Jesus. And he sends the disciples into town to get food so that he may be alone because he knows exactly who's coming to the well. Jesus offers her living water and tells her that he is here to break the boundaries between the Jews and the Samaritans. Soon, it will be about truth and spirit, just the heart, not a physical place, not the temple in Jerusalem, not Mount Gerizim in Samaria, just the heart. Fatina is still unsure, and she even makes a statement that until the Messiah comes, I just can't trust anyone, or I really don't know what to believe. So when Jesus reveals her past to her, she absolutely becomes a believer. And I love the dialogue that was written when she says, I am rejected by others, but then Jesus' reply of, I know, but not the Messiah. How wonderful is that? So stop letting others in this world determine your happiness. Who cares what others think about you anyway, right? There's only one person, one opinion that should matter to you, and that's Jesus. Jesus accepts you and loves you just the way you are. You were made this way for a reason. You may feel like a failure, and you may be rejected by others, but not the Messiah. All right, let's get right into our Bible reference guide then. The purchasing of land by Jacob to dig the well can be found in Genesis 33, verses 18 through 20. The provisions for divorce in the Pentateuch can be found in Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 1. The Pharisees confront Jesus about dining with sinners. Matthew chapter 9, verses 10 through 13. Mark chapter 2, verses 15 through 17. And Luke chapter 5, verses 29 through 32. And just a reminder that Matthew is referred to as Levi in Mark and Luke's account. The details for the guilt offering can be found in Leviticus chapter 5, verses 14 through, Leviticus chapter 5, verse 14, and Leviticus chapter 6, verse 7. Jesus' reference to I desire mercy, not sacrifice, that comes from Hosea chapter 6, verse 6. The story of Hagar can be found in Genesis chapter 16. Jesus healing Simon's mother-in-law can be found in Matthew 8, verses 14 and 15, Mark 1, verse 29-31, and Luke 4, 38 through 39. And the story of the Samaritan woman at the well can be found in John chapter 4, verses 1 through 35. So believe it or not, that's it for season 1. I really hope you've enjoyed all these episodes. I hope you've enjoyed this Bible study series so far. Please come back for season 2. There's so many great things to look forward to in season 2. The Sons of Thunder get their nickname. We get to meet the rest of the 12 disciples. The healing of the paralytic man at the pool of Bethesda. So much more. Come on back for season 2. I hope you enjoyed season 1. This has been the Bible Study Dude. God bless you all, and I hope to see you in season 2.